someone's got too flat of a foot or a collapsed arch, so they get given orthotics to artificially create an arch. And then you've got people with high arches where the foot's quite shortened up like this. That's also quite dysfunctional too. What you want is a functional arch, something that can flatten and then can come up as an arch. Okay. Hey guys, Elliot here from MMT, here with Ninja, doing another one on the foot series. I'm sure we've got a few videos out there on the foot there. We're going to look at the outside of the foot, small muscle called Abductor Digiti Minimi.
Whoa.
Right? Yeah, it's a Latin word, I guess, and there's two of them in the body, one in your hand and one in your foot. So the one in your hand here does that, and the one in the foot there does that. Yeah, not the most coordinated, but yeah, it's that little thing. Some of you might be able to get that last toe coming out there. So it's the one that, oh, Ninja's got it here, so he's able to move that. That's the action of the muscle there. So where is it? It's here. All right. You can see it over here on the chart on the wall here. So if we look at the sole of the foot, there it is, going to the outside there. So if you've got some foot pain, some people with the plantar fascia pain that goes through here, mostly it's along the big toe, that's what they're experiencing, but this can be impacted as well. And on this image here, it's that piece of meat that comes around the side there. That's the Abductor Digiti Minimi, attached to the outside, and it's near where the peroneal tendons attach, right? So if you've got some tendonitis on the outside of your foot, or you've got some outside ankle pain as well, so outside ankle pain, outside foot pain, this can be a source of dysfunction and can easily be missed because we're sort of looking at ankle joints and plantar fascia and all that. We can forget that there are muscles through here, all right? So I've been working on this with my wife. She does a lot of dancing in a studio, and they wear like boots for some of their dances, and that can be quite a tight fit. So if you've got a tight fit for your toes there, it's going to squish all those toes in like that, and it's going to cause some of these muscles to work hard against that pressure because the foot's been encased in here. So if the foot's been encased, all this is all getting cramped up. And if you've been in that for some time, those muscles will shut down, they get quite tight. So even when you come out of it, they're not ready to go. The foot needs to be in that kind of spread out position there. It needs to be functioning really, really well. That means muscles like that need to be working fine. So yeah, if you're got some foot pain yourself, or you're a body worker with a client with foot issues, that's another one that you can get into. So do your normal kind of approach, through the plantar fascia, through the flexor hallucis, along through here, work the arch, all right? Then you can work the heel, at the front here, and then you can work the outside of the heel there too. So how I like to get into it is find the heel bone like this, and it starts a bit further up here, sort of where the peroneal tendons here attach onto the base of the fifth metatarsal. This is the fifth metatarsal here, so it is right through here. Right, and we can probably start from the bone like we do in most of our things. Start treatment from the bone there, sink in, get feedback from the client. Am I going all right there, Ninj?
Yep. Yeah, it's fucking therapeutic as, bro. It's just
straight to it.
I'm glad you didn't have my wrinkle count going there.
So yeah, making sure that you're really starting on the border of the bone there, so you're not missing anything, especially the attachment points. Those are where nerve endings can get quite sensitized. A lot of what we do in bodywork is about trying to reorganize the sensitivity of the nervous system. It's been pushed to a point where it's starting to feel like what's happening is a threat, and so things get shut down. They start protecting themselves as a way of getting out of a threatening situation, but even though externally you may be out of threat there, the nerve endings might still be reporting, hey, we're still in protection mode. So what we're doing here when we do treatment is trying to reset what those nerve endings are saying. Right? When we put pressure in that area, we are releasing things. We are releasing stuff that's built up in terms of like waste products. We may be moving some scar tissue that might, been from an injury that's healing, and we've got to get it moving again. But we've also got to help reset those nerve endings. Okay? And nerve endings are very microscopic. We've got cajillions of them in our body.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so it only takes one, to be quite super sensitized, and it's just got to be constantly sending a message to the spinal cord, to the brain saying, hey, we're still in lockdown mode. So if a person's in that state and they're going, you know, if I just rest a bit longer, give it a while, maybe it'll get better, nothing changes, right? It's going to keep setting that threat or saying that protection mode signal. And so you can wait and wait and wait. Yep, the state is still in that area, so it's not going to change. So I always like to say, when we've got cuts and bruises, our circulation comes and cleans up the area that has been damaged. So structurally, if we had a cut here, circulation helps take away the damaged tissue, add in new tissue and rebuild that. So if we give it time, it does get better. But if we have a sensitized area or locked up muscle in a dysfunctional region where things are just not performing so well, time doesn't fix it. Right? It needs to be given a reason to get out of that protection mode. So bodywork is about guiding that process back into safety. We're trying to give it sensations to say it's okay to go back to your resting position. And particularly if you've got someone who's been in very bad fitting shoes or on their feet a lot, then those muscles have been triggered to go into those protective states.
Sore in there.
Yeah, and this is someone who doesn't wear shoes, so.
Yeah. That's it. Therapeutic feeling, yeah. The tendon work, the bony work, it's just got a different sensation. And when you really hold things, you just know that it's helping you heal.
So we know an area is happy or not in a threatened state, which is when you go to put pressure on it and it feels just like pressure. So if you try this on yourself, any spot, so you pick a spot like this, you put pressure on it, it feels just like pressure. But if you find a spot that's a bit more wound up, a bit overworked, like say maybe in my forearm here, if I've been using a bit more of my grip, I go to put the same amount of pressure there, it feels quite sensitive. That's a sensitized area, right? I know there's no damage there, but the nerve endings there have started to be a bit worked up. And then that starts to get to a point of shutting down things. So bodywork comes in many forms. There's a direct application of force, which is what I'm doing to Ninja here, helping reorganize what those nerve endings are saying. And then there's forces through exercise as well. So exercise is a great way to help reorganize our nerve endings too. We're telling the body, this is what we want to set ourselves up for, so we put loads through the body. But you know, it's all dose dependent. You can overdo it. You can put too much, I can put too much force in here and then create a threatening force, which then Ninja will start shutting himself off to. So that's where the art of our pressure really comes into play. And it's also the art of how we handle and communicate to our client. All right, because it's the client's body, it's the client's nervous system at the end of the day that needs to reset and accept what is safe and what's not safe. It's quite a complicated one as well in terms of that topic, how different people have different views on what's safe. You know, like, I hurt myself exercising, so if I just don't exercise or don't do any alert there, I'll be safe. It's like, you know, that's a bit of an extreme thought, but it's natural for us to retreat into that. And so, yeah, if you're a body worker or a personal trainer, it's about, you know, holding the hand of your client and just guiding them through, okay, maybe that one time we did go into that state of survival or threat, we've got to find a way to change that context. So here you can see that just taking our time there, working the entire region, and working my way gradually towards the heel bone, the calcaneum. And even though on anatomy we just see this as a bone there are, again, nerve endings that wrap all the way around. There's tendons that run through here as well. So this is not something to be missed. And it's quite an important functioning area, as most areas are. So as we move the foot towards this direction here, we're getting some good lengthening of the tissues there. And you can see the outline of Ninja's peroneal tendon here running behind the foot there. Yeah, so a good one to add on top of foot treatment You know, the foot is as complicated as your hand would be, I suppose. A lot of bones, a lot of joints, a lot of muscles. So if you're not up to date on treating the foot there, you know, really spend some time on your own foot or someone you know really well, exploring different regions such as this, you know, seeing what every little muscle does, just like the Abductor Digiti Minimi.
Mini-me.
Mini-me. Mini-me. They decided to go with mini-me, not minimus. I don't know why. It's probably a good reason for it, Latin reason. But yeah, abductor of the little toe. Yeah, so that's on the outside there. Much like when you do your plantar fascia work and your arch work, you can also work on the outer arch too. Okay, so the arch, you've got the main arch of the foot, which is this inside, and then you've got the lesser arch over here, right? And a good healthy foot is one that can conform and balance itself on all sorts of different surfaces. And that's where being barefoot really, really shows its strength.
Yeah. Where is the third arch? Is that across the
Across
fourth?
the top, yeah. Transverse arch.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. People only think there's one arch, I suppose, don't they?
Yeah, it's because they always talk about flat foot. So when they're referring to arches, they're thinking about just this main one here. It is a very prominent and powerful one because it needs to be quite springy, but also needs to conform too. So you get told a lot, someone's got too flat of a foot or a collapsed arch, so they get given orthotics to artificially create an arch. And then you've got people with high arches where the foot's quite shortened up like this. That's also quite dysfunctional too. What you want is a functional arch, something that can flatten and then can come up as an arch. Okay, so that means the foot can conform, but it also means that the foot can act like a proper spring. All right, it is somewhat like a tendon. It does store energy and release it, just like your Achilles tendon. So your Achilles and your plantar arch here, they work together to get that springy effect through the lower leg. So if you're doing anything with plyometrics like skipping rope or sprinting or bounding, that's where you want a nice functioning arch so the foot's nice and springy there. And I guess, yeah, some of sports players run into this issue because of the shoes. So soccer shoes, footy shoes, they're all just squishing the foot like that. Why do you suppose that is?
They just, it's not about performance. I reckon there's a lot of it's fashion. You know what I mean?
Fashion?
Fashion, and yeah, like, but I think if they had more wider toe boxes and more flatter shoes, like the old school ones, the old Adidas football boots were wider and just flat, no raised heel and things like that, no arch support. People didn't have the injuries and stuff.
Someone in marketing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I hear a lot, it's like, oh, you're with the narrow shoes, you get better control over the kick of the ball there. And I'm just like, well, surely you could develop the skill with any sort of shoe. It's not the shoe that made the accuracy. It's your hand-foot coordination, right?
Yeah.
So your foot-eye coordination, sorry.
Get it hit through the middle of your leg, of your foot.
Yeah.
Anyway, haven't you?
Yeah. You know, don't blame the tools.
Bad tradie blames his tools.
That's it. You know, we could have won the grand final if I had some better shoes. Nah, it's just... So there you have it. Abductor Digiti Minimi. Have a look in the anatomy app. Have a look at it nice and close. Trace it out on yourself or on someone else. You know, get stuck into it. Work it just the same as every other muscle that we do. And yeah, free up some of those feet there. Get people out of foot pain. You know?
Free the feet.
Free the feet.
Get barefoot.
Okay. Alrighty.
Done.
Get it done.
Done.